Alright folks, let's talk Lord of the Rings steals and deals. It's been a little while since Lord of the Rings released. It's been about 6 months or so. It's nice to go back, look at these cards, and see what's dropped like a rock. I will say this set has some super expensive chase cards and lots of fantastic reprints, and new cards in the Commander product and the main set. Today we're looking at cards under $5 because this channel is all about steals, deals, and Parmesan veals. Let's start out with this guy, Sauron the Dark Lord. 3 blue, black, and a red for a legendary creature avatar horror. It's a 7/6. Has ward, sacrifice a legendary artifact or legendary creature. When an opponent casts a spell, amass orcs 1. Whenever an army you control deals combat damage to a player, the ring tempts you. Whenever the ring tempts you, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw 4 cards. What a bonkers card, dude. Take a look at this thing. 4 abilities. The amassing of orcs is just a crazy trigger, especially if you pack the deck with sacrifice outlets and payoffs. Plus that stat line and protection make this a compelling build around Commander. The showcase is only $3. Alright, let's keep the value train a-rolling with Spiteful Banditry. X red for an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, it deals X damage to each creature. Whenever one or more creatures your opponents control die, you create a treasure token. This ability triggers only once each turn. $4 for this puts me in mind of the Meat Hook Massacre, although sadly, this only triggers once per turn. This has homes in a lot of decks though, man. Your Group Slug, your direct damage decks, Torolf, and the like. Great card that sticks a little better than a creature with the same ability. Look at this bad boy, it's just a hat, dude. The Relic of Sauron is 4 generic mana for an artifact. Tap, add 2 mana in any combination of blue, black, and or red. Has 3 in tap, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. This is from the Commander product. This is a sweet mana rock that can help feed your graveyard in a Grixis Reanimator deck. Fits perfectly in the Precon where the Commander is 8 mana. I know people frown on these types of late mana acceleration, 4 mana rocks and the like, but not me, dude. This comes in untapped. It's only $4. You think Arwen's gonna go work at Starbucks, dude? No way, man. She's building a flag for her dude. She's got the Weaver of Hope. She's 1 green for a legendary creature, Elf Noble. It's a 2/1. Each other creature you control enters the battlefield with a number of additional +1/+1 counters on it equal to Arwen, Weaver of Hope's toughness. She's got that flag cape. She's frolicking amongst the trees. This pretty elf is out there watching Aragorn on Facebook Live, dude. People play Master Biomancer and Renata, and this effect in a counters deck can get lots of bonus counters on ETB. Plus it's an elf for those elf decks, boyo. This is a $4 card. And next up we got the Mists of Lorien, dude. Look at these mists. 2 and a blue for a sorcery, replicate for a blue. When you cast a spell, copy it for each time you paid it to replicate cost. You may choose new targets for the copy. Return target non-land permanent and each other non-land permanent with the same mana value as that permanent to their owner's hands. It's kind of a sculptable mass bounce, dude. $3. Completely hoses token decks, you just choose 0, but should be included if you have positive synergy with your own deck. ETB centered decks can use this, reuse your ETB situations. You can use this defensively to get your commander back in response to a wipe or targeted removal. It's a pretty neat card. And don't you dare sleep on the Storm of Saruman. 4 blue for an enchantment, has ward 3. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, copy it, except the copy isn't legendary. You may choose new targets for the copy. $3 for this thing, man. This is interesting for certain decks. There's basically just the restriction that you need to be casting 2 spells per turn, which is not undoable late game with a lot of these crazy decks, man. I don't have a deck in mind for this, and it's 6 mana, but I can see this being broken late game for a ton of decks. Alright, man, this one's interesting. This is straight out of the holiday product. You got the Witch King, the Sky Scourge. This guy has about 11 cards. 5 black and a red for a legendary creature, Wraith Noble. It's a 5/5 with flying. Whenever you attack with 1 or more Wraiths, exile the top X cards of your library where X is their total power, so this is an attack trigger. You may play those cards this turn. Has Undying. I mean, this guy is a Wraith. He needs haste, but this is a pretty superior card selection card, man. And in an Exile Matters deck, this is gas. The Undying is really icing on the cake. I think people are sleeping on this guy. I think if this said when this creature attacks, do the thing, people would be salivating, but you know, you have this trap of making you think it's for other Wraiths. This is $2. Elven Chorus, 3 and a green for an enchantment. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast creature spells from the top of your library. Creatures you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. What the heck, dude? This card is $2.50. It's kind of a combo between Cryptolith Rite, Vivian, Monsters Advocate, or the Reality Chip, those types of effects. Although I believe the Reality Chip lets you play lands too. You would need some added synergy, but this is a great card in a creature-heavy deck. Just a bunch of Taylor Swift fans hanging out in the woods. Then you got Lotho, Corrupted Sheriff. This guy's white and black for a legendary creature halfling rogue. It's a 2/1. Whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, you lose 1 life and you create a treasure token. So that's a player and includes you, buddy. This guy looks like Bill Paxton a little bit. He's got that smug look. Fairly reliable token maker, ramp piece in your commander decks. This card, in my humble opinion, is a staple if you can run it. It's 2 mana, dude. It's a 2-drop that accrues that much value. That's an all-star. Now, speaking of Taylor Swift fans hanging out in the woods, dude, don't anger them because they'll give you a Galadrim ambush. 3 and a green for an instant, create X 1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens where X is the number of attacking creatures. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn by non-elf creatures. Everybody loves fogs, right? Your opponents thinks they have it all sewn up. Well, listen, buddy, they don't. Honestly, fogs are only good if there's something you can follow it up with, but you're going to have a bunch of elves in this case. Interesting $2 card nonetheless. Oh, we got Nazgul just bursting out of our pants, dude. Lord of the Nazgul is 3 blue and a black for a legendary creature. Wraith Noble, it's a 4/3 with flying. Wraiths you control have protection from ring bearers. Who cares? Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 3/3 black Wraith creature token with menace. Then if you control 9 or more Wraiths, Wraiths you control have base power and toughness 9/9 until end of turn. $2 for this little guy, who's just a souped up Talrand, very similar ability, with that win condition stapled right on, man. This guy's control game is very strong, and he pays that off with little dudes. This card is very interesting. It's an uncommon, 2 and a green for Entish Restoration. It's an instant. Sacrifice a land, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. If you control a creature with power 4 or greater, instead, search your library for up to 3 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. This is an instant. It's an interesting card. It's a Harrow effect, but with the Harrow, the lands come in untapped. This can be a huge boon, dude, though usually you're casting Harrow early to ramp. The 3rd land that can come in can be also pretty huge, but if you already have a creature out with 4 power, you probably already have a good deal of land out there. Anyways, man, interesting redundant effect for Sacrifice Matters decks. I can see holding up mana in a blue-green deck for some kind of counter or something, but then you don't cast it, so you cast this bad boy. It's $1.50. How about this guy, the Forge Anew, 2 and a white for an enchantment. When Forge Anew enters the battlefield, return target equipment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. As long as it's your turn, you may activate equip abilities anytime you could cast an instant. You may pay 0 rather than pay the equip cost of your first equip ability you activate during each of your turns. This goes great in equipment decks, especially those packing swords your opponents wants desperately to kill. The other 2 abilities go bang bang in equipment decks, dude, and this is under a dang $1. Now, I think I was more excited about this card than anybody else, but Reprieve. 1 and a white for an instant, return target spell to its owner's hand, draw a card. It's a color-shifted Remand, which I've certainly run in decks, man. Remand just sucks at endgame when somebody's at 150 mana. Just cast whatever it was again. But white doesn't have a ton of options in this space. If a spell is returned to its owner's hand, it's removed from the stack and thus will not resolve. The spell isn't countered, it just no longer exists. This works against a spell that can't be countered. That's from the ruling, brother. And it's $1. Oh, Lauren's Searing Light. I don't know, there's a tilde in there somewhere, man. This is from the famous scene in the book where Gandalf seared a salmon. 2 red and a white for an instant. Each opponent exiles a creature with the greatest power among creatures that player controls. Spell Mastery if there are 2 or more instant and or sorcery cards in your graveyard. This thing deals damage to each opponent equal to the power of the creature they exiled. This is a neat card for a Sunforger package or just a Boros Instance Matters deck. You'll really blast 1 or 2 players, man. This can be used to get rid of some big attackers as well. Very neat card. And lastly, we're pipping and popping with some Jello Pudding Pops. We got the Guard of the Citadel, white and blue for a legendary creature, halfling soldier. It's a 2/2 with vigilance and ward 1. Tap another creature, target creature you control gains protection from the card type of your choice until end of turn. Can't be blocked, targeted, dealt damage, enchanted, or equipped by anything of that type. People play Mother of Runes and Giver of Runes, which are both more efficient than old Pip here, but this is a neat little protection piece for 50 cents. I just wanted to revisit this set because it's been like 6 months. There's a lot in this set, man. You know, there's cards from outer space, dude. There's cards that exist in other dimensions. You got to pay $10 billion for, man. Only Jeff Bezos can afford those. Chase cards continue to be the One Ring, Orcish Bowmasters, which is insane, and the Nazgul, because there's a bunch of geeks out there that need 9 different Nazgul to complete their collections. I ain't paying $10 for a damn uncommon, dude. Just proxy those bad boys up with pictures of your favorite celebrities like James Charles and RuPaul. Sneaky G for Better Commander, signing off.